Greetings again, makers. We are at week 3. I'm looking now at circuit 3, which is the RGB LED. RGB standing for red, green, and blue. And here we have the schematic from which I'm working. The Arduino. We're working off of pins 9, 10, and 11. And I should connect these or it won't make much sense. Okay. We have pin. Each of those pins goes to a 330 ohm resistor. Each pin after the resistor connects to one portion of a combined red, green, and blue LED. Not 3 separate LEDs, but one that includes all 3 elements. Okay. Pin 9 goes to the red, 10 to the green, and 11 to the blue. And then they share a common ground, which goes out to the negative of the Arduino board. Okay. Let me move things around here. I have my circuit built. We have 5 volts to the positive power section, the ground to the negative power section, the negative power section to the common ground of the RGB, a 330 ohm resistor off of each of the other leads of the RGB. Looking at the diagrams in the book, the flat side of the RGB is the red, and then it goes red, green, and then blue over here on the opposite side. And just for the sake of simplicity, I used the wires in the same colors. The red wire going from 9 to the red LED connector, the blue going across to the blue connector, and the green coming across to the green connector. Okay, we hook this up. And what we get is the LED cycling through its 3 colors and then combinations of those colors to make other colors. I think on the video it probably looks like the colors actually come out combined, but in reality I can see the different elements shining separately. But if it were placed within an enclosure, it might be a little better, but either way, it still gives off a little different glow. Okay, take a break until I get to the next circuit. Hey, makers, I am back once again with week 3, circuit 4. We have this time that's not good. Greetings once again, makers. I'm back with week 3. Now we're on circuit 4, which instead of the RGB LED, which we did in circuit 3, this time we have multiple LEDs. This one, though it looks much more complicated, is, as far as the circuit is concerned, is really just our first circuit multiplied by 8. Instead of 1 LED flashing, we have 8 LEDs. And the circuit itself, because there's so much more here, looks more complicated. But if you isolate it down, we have our positive to the power strip. We have our negative to the negative side of the power strip. And then from one pin to the positive side of the LED to a 330 ohm resistor, which goes to the ground. That's just circuit 1. And then we do that 8 times, coming off of 8 pins to 8 LEDs to 8 resistors that all go to the ground strip. Okay. But instead of just blinking LEDs that blink on and off, these blink in sequence. Okay. Now, our code could have been set up to blink on, off, on, off, on, off, one after the other. But this is what, in advertising language, at least back in the 80s, was called chaser lights, as they kind of chase each other back and forth. Okay. These were used in marquee signs that were set out by the street to advertise specials, with the arrow flashing toward the business where you could take advantage of that special, and other things of that sort. They're used today actually in emergency beacon lights, like police vehicle lights and ambulance lights and stuff, that sometimes flash side to side to help direct traffic around the vehicle, or from center outward to indicate that traffic needs to stop and stuff like that. Okay. But these can be found in lots of places, and of course chasing lights around dance floors. Sometimes you see them in this kind of thing around the dance floor, but they may just go around and not back up. Okay. And just multiple different uses like that. I've seen them in Christmas lights, of course. I've also seen them where people have used Christmas lights or LEDs or whatever it is that they used to spell stuff out, and they will light up in as if somebody is writing in cursive whatever the message is in that light. Okay. So these are pretty useful, and obviously the more complex the lighting system, the more complex the circuit will look, and the more complex the code will appear. Okay. But it's just a repeating of that code and of this circuitry as many times as is needed to produce the effect that's desired. Alright, so I'm going to knock off here for a second and then move on to our extensions and challenges. Okay, now we're back with the challenge, and I decided that I would go with what I'm calling build-up LEDs, going with our circuit that went chasing the yellow LEDs, and then added the RGB so that it joins the chase. For some reason, these are not lighting up very bright. I keep running into that issue when I start adding these LEDs. I've got the right resistors, got it grounded, I've got it running off of the digital pins. I'm not sure what's going on, but it does work. If we go in here, chase up red, there it is. And so we have a functional circuit that still is not quite what I wanted or expected, but it is working. So that's all I've got for now.